Almost everyone I meet intends to start a meditation practice someday. The key word, of course, being someday. Someday when all worries are taken care of, when the mind is stress-free and there are no more chores left to be done. That day, I will start doing meditation. Now, this would seem very similar to our usual justifications whenever we are faced with starting something new. Let's say an exercise routine. I will join the gym when I am fit enough to exercise. Now, this logic is roundabout when it comes to starting exercising, and it is also roundabout when it comes to starting a meditation practice. True, authentic meditation, which starts from simply observing your mind, needs no prerequisites. It doesn't need you to be able to hold your attention for 10 minutes or to sit in the perfect posture for 20 minutes. It doesn't need you to go on that perfect retreat or for you to buy that most expensive yoga mat. Why then do we put it off so much? I think the primary reasons are two, and by knowing them in depth, we might be able to overcome them. First, at its core, meditation is a solitary activity. It is to be done by you alone. And at least initially, the benefits are also visible to you alone. Now, this puts it at odds with almost everything else you do in this world, from making money to working out, from getting good grades to learning music. Everything else is built upon a large measure of external validation. In fact, whether something is worthwhile or not is usually judged by the value other people place on it. You remember that famous stereotype of the brilliant but broke artist? That also reflects this. The value of art is the amount of money somebody else is able to pay for it. But meditation is truly distinct from all such activities. It is a form of self-investment, a routine of self-care, and an endeavor of self-improvement. To indulge in such an activity, you don't just need the time to put in, you also need a minimum level of self-confidence that you are worth investing time upon. Unfortunately, this doesn't come naturally for most of us. We are just not used to doing stuff for ourselves. There is this stigma of selfishness whenever we want to take out time purely for our own benefit, which is ridiculous, by the way. A happy you is the most beneficial person for those around you. But there is no easy way out of this burden, so you just might have to brute force your way through the initial sessions for the initial months before the benefits become too apparent for them to ignore. So this is the first reason why we delay our meditation practice, because we have this inertia of thinking that since meditation is not being done for other people, it is not an activity worthwhile. You need to get out of this misconception, because meditation is probably the most important activity you will ever indulge in. Which brings us to the second reason why we delay our meditation practice. You see, meditation is a very subtle combination of an art brush and a hammer. It requires resolve, but it also requires delicate touches. And unfortunately, most of us lean one way or the other. Some of us are too abstract to be bound in a framework, and others require a precisely articulated structure. But meditation is a mixture of playing and being patient, of being curious yet being disciplined, of being able to explore your edges and yet being stable by where you are. How you maintain the balance is what defines the output. And this ability to be alert while being able to let go is something which takes at least a few months before setting in. So you need to stay on your structure and yet be willing to explore. There is a technique to what we are attempting to do, but there is also a generous helping of an artist's way which cannot be explained in a book. And this makes it tricky. You know how Tantra is often described as licking honey from a razor's edge? It is that delicate a balance which needs to be maintained. And until we realize that this type of a balance is what is needed, a consistent practice is often not feasible. We delay starting it and we rush to stop it at the most minor inconvenience. So the good part is that there are plenty of meditation traditions around the world. You need to find the one which syncs with you the most and stick with it. But how do I find that one practice without exploring all of them? Well, there is no easy answer to that, but there is definitely an easy way to find the answer, which is you start by observing your mind. Begin with recognizing this continuous state of being lost in thoughts and somehow pivot to the gaps in between this continuous chain of ups and downs. This gap is where self awareness shines, and this is where you will find your anchor points to move forward. From there, the direction becomes clearer. Remember, this is your one life. Do not delay the happiness. Start now. Somehow create this consistent meditation practice, because that will give you much more clarity on the path forward than watching 10 different videos. Until next time, good luck.